India has sent humanitarian aid to war-torn Gaza, nearly 6.5 tons of medical and aid and 32 tons of disaster relief material for the people of Palestine. It has reached the El Arish airport in Egypt. The material includes essential life-saving medicines, surgical items, tents, water purification tablets, among other required items. The items will be sent to Palestine through the Rafah border crossing between Egypt and Gaza. UNICEF says 1 million children in Gaza Strip are in urgent need of protection and humanitarian aid. The Israel-Hamas war has caused scarcity of various supplies and also daily necessities, further trapping local residents, particularly children, in distress and plight. The UN agency said that the supplies coming to Gaza Strip through the Rafah crossing is insufficient. UNICEF and other agencies have hence appealed immediate ceasefire for delivery of more sustainable aid to the besieged enclave. United Nations officials are urging sustained humanitarian aid delivery to Gaza, and as per the UN, the needs in the enclave are far higher than the 20 truckloads of supplies which were sent on Saturday through the Rafah crossing. Now, it is the only border crossing between Gaza and Egypt. The trucks were loaded with medical aid, food and water, which was donated by the Egyptian Red Cross and the UN organizations, including the World Food Programme. The coffins carrying the bodies of Nepali students killed in Israel have been brought to Kathmandu. The bodies of the deceased were brought to home soil after about 2 weeks. That is, after the surprise attack by Hamas militants on Israel that killed at least 1,400 people. As per the sources, at least 10 Nepali citizens were killed in the attack that struck Israel on the 7th of October. Nepal's government bid a ceremonial farewell to the two victims. The ceremony was attended by Israel's ambassador, Nepal's foreign minister, and also a survivor of the same attack. The sources suggest that at least 4,500 Nepali nationals work in Israel, mostly as caregivers in the country. More than 30,000 Palestinian refugees are now taking shelter at a tent camp in Khan Younis city of southern Gaza. This after the Israeli army ordered the civilians in the northern half of the besieged Gaza Strip to relocate southward last week. And people at the camp do not have access to fuel, electricity or internet. The canned food items are delivered to them every few days. Palestinians bid farewell to a 19-year-old who was killed by the Israeli forces in a raid in the West Bank. 4 other Palestinians were also killed in the northern Western Bank, bringing the death toll to 90 since Hamas attacked the Israeli soil on the 7th of October. As per Tel Aviv, an Israeli aircraft struck a compound beneath a mosque in Jenin. The sources claim that the place was being used by militants, Hamas militants, to organize attacks. This Israeli strike is the second one to have hit West Bank in the recent days. The shop owners in the central Gaza city are using candles for lighting as the coastal enclave reels from power outages. This is a part of the full blockade imposed on Gaza by Israel 2 weeks ago. The relentless bombing from Israel on the war-torn enclave has caused a mass displacement of people. The blockade has left Palestinians in desperate need of basic necessities, plunging Gaza into an acute humanitarian crisis. As per the Gazans, there is no electricity and water. It is difficult to find goods as well, and most of the goods are being sold at extremely high prices. Hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets of various cities in the U.S. to demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The demonstrators, while chanting "Free Palestine," held banners and waved Palestinian flags. The trail of the Palestinian supporters marched through major cities of Los Angeles and Tampa. The protest comes following the indiscriminate bombing of the Gaza Strip by the Israeli forces. The bombing has killed thousands and was followed by the surprise attack by Hamas on the Israeli military on 7th of October. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has met with his Italian counterpart Giorgia Meloni in Tel Aviv. This comes as Israel's military continues to pound northern Gaza and has warned that it will increase its attack. Well, Prime Minister Meloni said in Egypt at the International Summit for Peace that in the West Asia, the international community must avoid an escalation in the war between Israel and Hamas, and also set a roadmap towards the two-state solution. The Italian Prime Minister also met with the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in Egypt, that is before traveling to Tel Aviv to meet Netanyahu. Well, Meloni and Abbas discussed the need to work hard for a de-escalation of the war and also for a two-state solution. Hundreds of demonstrators, including family of those missing after the October 7th Hamas attack, are demonstrating in central Tel Aviv. The demonstrators are demanding the government to take immediate action to return their loved ones who are being held hostage by the Hamas militants. Well, as of now, at least 200 hostages have been taken by the Hamas militants. And this is the bloodiest attack on Israel since the 1973 Arab-Israel war. Israel has responded to the October 7th attacks by Hamas militants by subjecting Gaza to the most intense bombing it has ever seen. According to Gaza's health ministry, over 4,300 Palestinians have been killed. Israeli aircraft has struck a compound beneath a mosque in West Bank. According to Israeli military, the compound was being used by militants to organize attacks. And as per the Palestinian medics, at least one person is dead. Israel has said that the compound beneath Al-Ansar Mosque in Jenin refugee camp belonged to the operatives from Hamas and Palestinians' Islamic Jihad. The Israeli airstrikes is at least the second in recent days to hit the West Bank, where violence has surged since Hamas gunmen from Gaza carried out a deadly October 7th rampage in Israel. Well, tanks have been stationed at Israel's southern border with Gaza. This comes when Israel is saying that it will intensify its attacks in the enclave's north. According to the medical sources, at least 90 Palestinians are dead in Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. Israel has started its total siege of Gaza after an October 7th cross-border attack on southern Israel by Hamas. At least 6 people are dead and 14 injured in Russia's missile attack on Kharkiv Postal Center. The missile strike has created a massive hole in the roof, destroyed walls and much of the facility. Well, according to the Ukrainian police officer, The postal distribution center was attacked twice. There has been no immediate comment from Russia, and both the sides deny targeting civilians in the war that Russia launched against its neighbor in February 2022. The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, he will travel to China from the 4th of November to the 7th of November in order to meet the Chinese President Xi Jinping and also Premier Li Qiang. The visit to China, which is the first by an Australian leader since 2016, is aimed at stabilizing relations between the two countries. The visit was trumpeted at the heels of the two countries reaching a deal in a bid to solve the World Trade Organization dispute over wine. Well, in 2020, China announced that it would impose anti-dumping duties on most of Australian wine. The move came after Australia called for an inquiry into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. The armed forces of the Philippines released footage of Chinese vessels blocking a Philippine boat which was supplying forces in the disputed waters of the South China Sea. Well, this was the latest in a series of maritime confrontations. Meanwhile, Manila condemned the dangerous blocking maneuvers of the Chinese vessel. Manila's task force for the West Philippine Sea said that China's actions were in violation of the Philippine sovereignty and jurisdiction. As a response, Beijing said that Manila had purposely provoked trouble by ignoring repeated warnings and also crossing the bow of the Chinese ships. Over 1,000 migrants arrived in Spain's Canary Islands in a single day after making a dangerous journey from Africa. As per the Red Cross, a wooden boat carrying about 320 people arrived at the shore, breaking a record number of arrivals in a single boat. The boats also included women and children in big numbers. The arrival that happened in parts included 271 people in El Hierro, 98 in Tenerife, and at least 150 in Gran Canaria. The Atlantic archipelago islands have become the main destination for migrants trying to reach Spain. And this year, it has seen an exponential increase in attempted crossings from Senegal and other African countries. As per the Walking Borders charity, at least 1,000 people have died attempting the crossing so far this year. The president of Detroit synagogue is dead. The police has requested FBI assistance in investigating the slaying of the 40-year-old Samantha Wall. As per the police, the body was found with stab wounds. The police did not confirm that the woman was Wall, but the media outlets, including Detroit Free Press and Detroit-area politicians, are saying that she is a victim. Samantha Wall's death has sparked an outpour of grief in Jewish and also Democratic circles. After reaching Mexico's Baja California peninsula, Hurricane Norma has weakened to a Category 2 storm. The Mexican authorities have advised residents to stay indoors and take precautions. Notably, Norma had reached the status of Category 4 earlier over the Mexican Pacific. The U.S. National Hurricane Center in its report has said that Norma's center was located about 45 kilometers southwest of Los Cabos, moving towards north at a speed of 13 kilometers per hour. And animal welfare workers are rescuing abandoned pets who are left behind after the Hamas attack on several kibbutz across southern Israel. A small spaniel mix named Jumpy has been hiding in his owner's abandoned home since the date of the attack, that is on October 7th. Malnourished and frightened by the experience, Jumpy has now been rescued by David Martiano, an animal welfare worker. According to Martiano, Jumpy's owner have survived the onslaught and will soon be reunited with their friend. Thousands of people have gathered in Mexico City's downtown to witness the annual zombie walk. Zombies of all ages, ranging from traditional flesh eaters with torn clothes to bear zombies. For many, the event is an opportunity to spend time with their families and also their communities. The zombie walk takes place every week before the traditional Day of the Dead begins in the city. Foxconn, the largest supplier of Apple iPhones, has been subjected to tax audits at some of its key subsidiaries. The Chinese state media reported on Sunday that the company has been suspected of violating laws and regulations. China's Natural Resources Department also conducted on-site probe on the land use of Foxconn in Henan and other provinces. However, media reports did not elaborate on the probe as of now. Dip buyers piled into an exchange-traded funded that bets on upside in Tesla's shares as the company's stock price sank following a weaker than expected earnings report. The fund's shares were down 4% on Friday. The dip buyers, for the benefit of our viewers, are those who buy stocks when the prices are falling. Now, the direction, a daily Tesla bull 1.5x shares ETF, which is the largest single stock ETF for bullish bets on Tesla's shares, which saw net daily inflows of $24.9 million on Thursday. The inflows came as the $833 million fund, which seeks to track Tesla's daily stock price performance, it fell by 14% on Thursday. On the world of sports now, one of England's greatest ever footballers, Bobby Charlton, has passed away at the age of 86. Charlton was a key player in England's only World Cup triumph in 1966. Charlton's family says he passed away peacefully in the early hours of Saturday morning. In November 2020, it was announced that Charlton had been diagnosed with dementia. Charlton won 106 caps for England and scored 49 international goals, which was a record till 2015. Charlton enjoyed a great club career as well. He spent 17 years at Manchester United and is widely regarded as one of the Red Devils' greatest ever players. Charlton's death means that Geoff Hurst, who scored a hat-trick in the win over West Germany in the 1966 final, is the sole surviving member of the World Cup winning England team.